Hey, everybody, welcome back to Talkin' Sports, episode 10. I'm one of your hosts, Andrew, and by the sound of my voice, yes, I'm back at Red Slide Studios, baby. Let's go.
Woo! Hey everyone, Miles Shield here. Andrew, what episode is it?
I think I just said episode 10, brother. If I gotta say it again, I'll say it again. It's episode 10, baby. That's right, folks. We have done 10 of these. Started all the way back on January 1st of the year 2025.
Yes, yeah, it's been pretty good so far. We got some very loyal fans, but today we have a pretty packed episode. We have Bucks conversations. We have the start of the MLB season and some Brewers things that Andrew has to give his opinion on. We have QAQB. We have Shield Spicy Situation. We have still talking about the NFL draft, more about the rookies and the new guys, Packers stuff. More Packers news, Andrew's 1 minute race, and Andrew's spin-off show that's going to be called Talking NASCAR. Andrew will give us some more details about that later. But let's start off with the Milwaukee Bucks. Andrew, what are we thinking here?
Well, let's address the elephant in the room here. The Bucks' first round playoff exit against the Pacers was nothing short of disappointing. Especially that final game. It was not a good game to watch. We completely fell apart. We couldn't keep the defense couldn't hold a lead, and I think that's a big issue the Bucks will need to address. But another big issue that the Bucks will have to address is whether we will keep Giannis Antetokounmpo. He's been our franchise cornerstone for what? The better part almost of a decade. Almost a decade. Wow, that makes me feel old, guys.
It's over.
What?
Yeah, I mean, it was 2013.
2013, yeah.
So that's 12.
Wow, yeah, that's crazy. Oh man, I feel old, guys. I feel old. I'm only 14. I'm turning 15. I feel old, guys. So either way, that's a big conversation that we need to dive into a little bit here. We're not gonna go full on because that would take a full episode. But Miles, what do you think about Giannis and his situation right now?
Yeah, and it's a bittersweet kind of moment, We love Giannis, but at the same time, we need to do what's right for the future of the Bucks. I don't see us, even if we keep Giannis, we're a sinking ship. We're the Titanic. We're going down no matter what. You can't change that.
Yeah.
And it's whether you accept it, trade Giannis, and try to rebuild quickly, so then you have a better chance of getting a championship within the next 5 to 8 years, or you hold on to Giannis till his contract's up in 2 years. He most likely leaves you, and now you're a sinking ship, and you can't rebuild, and you don't have a shot at the championship for another 10. Because actually, I'd say more than that, because your picks are gone for the next 5 years. You have no first round picks, and you're done. You're done. The Bucks are done for a long time if they don't trade Giannis. So I think, sadly, the best case scenario would be to trade Giannis. Obviously, it'd be a much easier decision if the Spurs would have won the draft lottery. They would have been able to trade the number one to us. The Bucks would have got Cooper Flag. I'm not saying that the Bucks don't have a chance to get Cooper Flag, because I have made some trades, mock trades, that have landed the Bucks the number one overall pick. And, those are some very spicy situations. That's why I call them Shield's spicy situations. But I think the Bucks have to trade Giannis. Andrew, do you agree or disagree?
From the franchise's perspective, yeah, we gotta trade Giannis if we're to be competitive again. Kind of like how the Thunder almost have had a somewhat quick rebuild. I'm trying to think of another team that's had a somewhat quick rebuild, I would say. I guess Giannis would be a good business decision for the Bucks, but as like personally, I can't fathom the idea of seeing Giannis in a different uniform. Because I remember like a couple years ago, there was rumors about Giannis getting traded, and I think that offseason we got Dame. So it's just not something. It's not a pleasant thought. Let's just say that. But we do have a couple teams lined up for a possible trade for Giannis. So I'll just go ahead and list them off real quick, and we'll evaluate them in a timely manner. So we have the Spurs, who hold the number 2 overall pick, the Mavericks, who hold the number one overall pick, and then the Rockets, who I believe hold the number 16 overall pick. I may be wrong there. Someone fact check me in the studio somewhere. It's 2 of us, so Miles, please fact check me if you can. And then we do have 2 other teams that are also in there, the Thunder and the Lakers. Thunder could probably be a kind of dark horse team that kind of always is in the conversation, but maybe doesn't go out in the end or burst onto the scene in the end and pulls it off. And then the Lakers, they're the wild card team because they got Luka Doncic, and no one thought Luka was going to go to the Lakers. And here we are in the year 2025 where Luka Doncic is on the Lakers and Anthony Davis is on the Mavs. So watch out for those 2 teams, I would say. But me and Miles has been specifically eyeing up the 3 teams, the Spurs, Mavs, and Rockets. What do you think of the Spurs, Miles?
I like a deal with Giannis to the Spurs for the Spurs and the Bucks, because the Spurs get Giannis, they are automatically a contending team. You know, they obviously made that trade for De'Aaron Fox, which was huge, and that boosted them a little, but they still need a little bit of a push. And I think they didn't expect the rebuild to go this quickly because, again, they've been rebuilding for a while. But once Victor came in, then you got Castle, Vassal, you got a lot of young guys who are performing. Now you can start thinking about winning championships. And I think to win a championship, you need Giannis. You get Giannis in, now you got a big 3 that's Fox, Wembanyama, and Antetokounmpo. I think you can't go wrong there. The Bucks would also get a lot of the Spurs' young players and picks, which is good for the Bucks. And that if they would trade to the Spurs, I think it would make their rebuild process very quick. Andrew?
Yeah, I agree. We would get a lot back from the Spurs. The Spurs would get a really good forward, and that could help them contend really quick. And I know Greg Popovich, who is, of course, stepping aside from the head coaching role and moving into the role as the president. I think that he can pull off something really cool there. Shout out to Popovich. It kind of sucks that he had to end his coaching tenure that way. And yeah, I just agree with what Miles said there. We can get a lot back from the Spurs, and the Spurs get a really good player from that. What about the Mavs, Miles? They got the number 1 overall pick.
Yeah, I see the Mavs thinking in a different way than I think a lot of people think they would think. First of all, you got Harrison, the GM for the Mavs. Obviously, the Maverick fans want his head. They want him out.
Yeah.
Right? They had a funeral for Luka after he left.
Yeah.
And that was devastating to see.
Mm-hmm.
So you either go with what the fans want. That's Cooper Flag. That's going to be the only reason people are going to go to your games. Yeah. Because you lost a lot of people going to your games when you traded away Luka. Now, if you bring in Cooper Flag, you got an insane prospect who could change the game. But realistically, you're not going to contend. You have Anthony Davis, Kyrie Irving, or Klay Thompson. So those are all guys over 30, all guys in your starting lineup who are going to be out of the league within the next 5 years. So to me, you need to try to squeeze every ounce of wins you can out of those 3. And to do that, you can't get a prototype, a prospect who you're going to wait for. So I would think you would make some sort of deal to bring in Giannis, try to get all guys who are 30 or over, and try to contend. I don't know. If it works, Maverick fans are going to love it. If it blows up, voice crack.
Yeah.
Harrison is gone. Harrison's gone for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But Giannis, I think Giannis will also bring in a lot of people, but you also have to think, you get Giannis, you lose Flag. You get Flag, you lose Giannis. It's whatever. I think if you get Flag, you win a championship some point the next 20 years. I think if you get Giannis, you could win a championship within the next 7.
All right.
Andrew.
Yeah, fair. I like that. I think that's definitely makes sense. And yeah, I don't know about the Mavs. I think the Mavs, the trade off for getting a 30-year-old Giannis and instead of taking a 18-year-old Cooper Flag. I personally, if I was a Mavs fan, I would take Cooper Flag. But hey, that's just me. Next up, the Rockets. I believe they hold a mid-round pick for the first round at least. Young core. Realistically, we could probably get back a lot of their young players. Naming a couple of them, like Jalen Green, Jabari Smith Jr., maybe Alfred Şengün. I know Miles doesn't love Şengün as a player to get back, so let's hear his opinion and see what he thinks about it.
Well, we're definitely dragging this segment, so I got to be quick here. To me, centers are not always the exciting pick, right? Not everyone's going to make the plays like Wembanyama. So if I'm trading an electric player like Giannis, getting a big old center is not as exciting. I'm not saying it's a bad thing, and I'm not saying it's going to be what's best for the team, but when you got a guy like Bobby Portis, if you can bring him back, if, you could do whatever and you have Bobby Portis and Brook Lopez, I don't see a need for Şengün. I would rather get a guy like Jalen Green, but that's just my opinion. So I think we got to move on here because we're already 10 minutes into the episode. So let's go on. Andrew, you're going to lead this segment. It's the MLB segment. Andrew?
Yeah, so we're gonna do a quick recap of the Brewers season so far because we're about 1/3 of the season so far. We played a little over 40 games. Right now the Brewers are sitting at 21-24, 4th in the NL Central. For all you Brewers fans out there, you casual Brewers fans, you might be thinking, "Oh, it's over. It's over again. We're going back to being mediocre again." I want to give you a little more optimism here. So, first off, it's early in the season. It's early. We haven't even got into the month of June yet, and we're only 3 games below 500. We're only 5 games behind the Cubs for the division win, 4.5 behind the Reds for third, and 4 games behind the Cardinals for second. Excuse me. Jeez. So the Brewers, it's a very contested NL Central, and I believe in the second half when the Brewers get a lot more healthy, we will be contending for that division win and a wild card spot. And I say healthy, we have so many injuries. I'm going to just pull the amount up real quick because there are a lot of them. And I can just think of a couple off my head. Brandon Woodruff has been out for over a year with a shoulder injury. He's supposed to be coming back very, very soon. We have Isaac Collins. He's been sidelined with an injury. Jose Quintana just went on the IL with a shoulder injury. Garrett Mitchell has an oblique strain. Nestor Cortez Jr. has an elbow injury. He's going to be out until the All-Star break. Connor Thomas is going to be out for a little while. Aaron Savali should be returning soon. Aaron Ashby should be returning soon. Blake Perkins has a broken shin. DL Hall has a lat strain. Robert Gasser has a torn UCL in his elbow. That's a lot, okay? Let me count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 injuries. I'm betting like about 75% of those are on the pitching staff. That's not good. But my point is the Brewers are going to get a lot more healthy by the All-Star break and a little bit after it. And I believe if we can stay around 500 like we have been, we will be contending in the second half of the year. Because I see a lot of these teams, like the Reds, like the Cardinals, like the Cubs, especially the Cardinals, not sustaining a record as good as they've had right now. They have been I believe they are firmly mediocre at best. Cardinals fans may hate me, but I really don't care. My history teacher probably is listening, and she probably is hating me right now. She's probably going to fail me on my final exam. Anyway, I'm sorry. Anyway, I think that the Brewers have a good chance to contend later. It's going to be rough for the first half. And also, the other thing the Brewers have to get better on is the offense. Please, Matt Arnold, go get us a bat at the trade deadline. We haven't brought anybody in since what? The last guy I remember is Mike Moustakas in 2018. Okay, that was like 7 years ago. Moustakas is out of the league. Point is, offense needs to be better, and we just have to slowly get healthy again. And most of those guys that I just mentioned are going to be coming back for the rest of the season. There's only one guy that is going to be out for the whole year, and that's Robert Gasser, who's a 26-year-old prospect. My point. So there you go. Brewers recap. We are currently sitting at 21-24, 3 games under 500. Let's hope the Brewers can turn it around going on to the month of June. Anyway, Miles, what's our next segment, dude?
It is QAQB.
Oh boy, here we go.
Yeah, so we got a few things to talk about. Me and Andrew, we still haven't decided, so we're going to have to decide live on air if we're going to do Browns and Saints. Right now we're at 15 minutes. Andrew, you want to do Browns and Saints or just Saints?
Let's go with both. Let's try for both.
Let's go for both.
We got
All right, QAQB, here we go. Saints, quarterback room. For those of you who don't know, Derek Carr had to retire because of his shoulder injury. I know all you guys who haven't watched football in a few years are like, wait, the Raiders' Derek Carr? No, the Saints' Derek Carr. And the Saints have a little bit of a situation at quarterback, and it's not a good one. All right, you got Spencer Rattler, who went later rounds, mid to late rounds.
He was a 7th round pick, I think.
No, he wasn't that late.
He was 5th. My.
And so he was a mid to late round pick last year. He got a few starts. He was okay. He looked and played like a mid to late round quarterback. You got Jake Haener. Andrew, I think, likes him more than me. I'm not a big Jake Haener guy.
I mean, he hasn't played a lot, but I mean, the stuff he's done in camp, and he's been pretty good. Also, I think he has a rare bowel disease, or he's got some kind of disease that's kind of been putting him on the bench for a couple years, but now I think he's fully healthy. So, shout out Jake Haener, way to battle through it, man.
Yeah, and then they also in the second round they took Tyler Shuck. So Tyler Shuck is a very interesting player because he did go ahead of Shedeur Sanders, which I gotta say, I didn't expect it. I did not expect Tyler Shuck, who's 26, I believe. He's
26.
He's turning 26.
Yeah.
To get drafted second round over a 22 or 23-year-old Shedeur Sanders. But, hey, a lot of people did not like Shedeur Sanders. He rubbed them the wrong way. That's a different conversation for a different time. Tyler Shuck, out of Louisville, seems like he's the front runner to be the starter. I'm not sure how this is going to pan out for the Saints. You know, Kellen Moore, quarterback, you know, he obviously as a first-time head coach, he was a quarterback. This could be the perfect time for Tyler Shuck.
Definitely what all that said is valid, and there's a lot of concerns with the Saints quarterback room. 3 very unproven quarterbacks. I did see Kellen Moore say that all 3 quarterbacks are going to get a fair shot. Probably out of all of them, we could either see Spencer Rattler and Jake Haener fight it out, because I believe Tyler Shuck, being as a rookie and a second round pick, I think he's going to struggle a little bit, even though he's a little bit older. I just think that those 2 players, Jake Haener and Spencer Rattler, with their albeit limited NFL experience, I think are going to maybe be the 2 front runners, and probably the one who loses that job is probably going to end up being third string behind Tyler Shuck. Anyway, that's a different topic for another day. The good thing for the Saints fans, though, they get a bunch of cap space. Congratulations, Saints fans. You're not in cap jail anymore. You can actually spend money on players. Yeah, congratulations, Saints fans. I know you're all so happy. Anyway, interesting topic here with the Saints quarterback room.
Yeah. Moving on to the Browns. Still in QAQB. For those of you who don't know, it is questions about quarterbacks. QAQB, the Browns quarterback room. I don't know. It's just weird. It makes me feel uncomfortable every time I see the Browns quarterback room. I'm just like, awkward.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's weird. It's really, really weird. They come in, Deshaun Watson, he tore both Achilles or re-ruptured?
He re-ruptured the same one.
Re-ruptured the same Achilles, which puts him out almost the whole year this year.
I expect they're probably just going to keep him on the bench.
Yeah,
Probably.
because he was abysmal. He's awful.
And he's an awful person.
Awful person. Awful person.
Yeah.
And well, they had to make some moves. So the best move that they made, bringing in a 40-year-old quarterback named Joe Flacco. Yeah,
Who led him to the playoffs 2 years ago?
but let's rewind. A 40-year-old quarterback, Joe Flacco. Let's rewind. A 40-year-old quarterback named Joe Flacco was their only guy, right? That's a little bit scary, And they had, at the time, Dorian Thompson-Robinson. Then they make a trade with the Eagles that sends Dorian Thompson-Robinson to the Eagles and Kenny Pickett, the former first overall pick of the Steelers, who...
28th overall pick. I just want to say that. Not the first overall pick, 28th overall pick.
21st.
21st?
28th?
21st, 28th. 20th pick. 20 in the range of the 20s.
Let's just say he was a first round pick.
Yeah, okay.
Failed. Should not have gone first round. That was a very weak quarterback year there. That was the Desmond Ridder, Kenny Pickett, Malik Willis.
Hey, hot take here. I think Malik Willis might be the best quarterback from the 2021 class. If I'm being real.
Hey, yeah,
if I'm being real. Yeah, Kenny Pickett won a Super Bowl, but Malik Willis has won some games in pretty good style.
Yeah, and let's just, to be fair, Kenny Pickett really won the Super Bowl because of the team he was on, not because of anything he did.
Mm-hmm.
So, wait, was Will Levis in that draft?
No, that was the C.J. Stroud and Bryce Young draft.
Yeah.
I'm just reminded of a video I saw from this year. Kenny Pickett had the nastiest pump fake ever. Tried to throw the ball, held onto it, and it was like, he fell forward with it. And I was like, and someone said, nastiest pump fake in the NFL. And I was like, oh yeah, definitely.
Well, I mean, it's pretty easy to do when you're wearing receiver gloves, 2 receiver gloves.
How much pine tar you bet it's on there?
Yeah. But staying on topic, now they have Joe Flacco, who is, rewind,
40 years old.
Oh my gosh, 40 years old. Okay, and then come to the draft, 3rd round. I was there. I actually wasn't watching at that point. I was kind of walking around. They had pretend to get drafted thing. I pretended to be the commissioner. Cool story for another time. And I was walking around. And I turn around and I see Browns select 3rd round Dillon Gabriel. I'm like, what? What? I was like, what? Like, what did I just witness?
When I was watching that, I was like, oh my lord, what?
I know. It was an absolute insane moment. Over Shedeur Sanders, another older quarterback, right? He's 24, 25.
No, he's 24.
Still old for a quarterback, but if you could get 10 good years out of him, it's worth it.
He'll be 34.
Yeah, I mean, it's worth it if you could get 10 good years and a Super Bowl win out of him. But then I'm just kind of like, interesting. Wonder where Shadeur's going to go. The Steelers? Nope. We got to wait. Then we wait till the 5th round. And there goes Mr. Sanders. I'm like, oh, Steelers. Wait.
Nope.
What?
Nope, it was the Cleveland Browns.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, can you rewind what you just said?
Yeah, it was the Cleveland Browns.
What?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was pretty insane for me. That was a kind of an out-of-body experience. Did not expect to see that. Rewinded and texted my friend, the commissioner, just making sure there wasn't, a spelling error or whatever, that was the right person. But for real, though, they drafted 2 quarterbacks when they already had Kenny Pickett and Joe Flacco.
And Deshaun Watson.
Who...
isn't going to play, probably, hopefully.
It's kind of the name we don't want to say, it kind of just leaves a bad taste in your mouth.
You know what? Let's not even worry about him, because he may not even play. You know what?
Right.
Erase him from the equation.
Yeah, he's gone. He is gone. All right. And then we go in. Who's going to get traded, right? You can't go into the season with 5 quarterbacks on your roster. 4, right? He's gone.
Yeah.
All right, 4. 4 quarterbacks. You can't go in. You can go in with 3. That's risky, but you can go in with 3. Usually, you're going to go in with 2.
One on your practice squad.
one on your practice squad, and then another as your emergency sometimes, or that practice squad is your
Yeah,
emergency.
your practice squad is your emergency.
Right, new rule. And I think they trade either Pickett or Flacco because they're not going to trade Gabriel or Sanders. Now, this is a very controversial issue between Sanders and Gabriel just because they're opposites, right?
Yeah.
You got Gabriel, more of a humble Heisman runner-up
From Hawaii.
He's got humble beginnings. He's older. He just seems so much more mature. He's under 6 foot. It depends on who do you talk to. 5'11", 6 foot is around his height.
Mm-hmm.
And then you got Shedeur Sanders. I would not say humble beginnings.
No.
Right? I mean, he was a millionaire when he was born. He was wearing. I'm convinced he was born with a chain around his neck. Like he had one of those diamond chains around his neck. And I think that Shedeur Sanders could beat out Dylan Gabriel.
Yeah, I think so, because I've seen some videos, and Shedeur Sanders definitely looks like a more prolific passer than Gabriel. But I also think that's Gabriel being a lefty, and there's not a lot of lefties in the NFL as quarterbacks. So I don't know. It's definitely gonna be close. I think they're definitely opposites when it comes to their play style. So we'll see. We'll see how that works out. But like Miles said, either one of them, Flacco or Pickett, is getting traded. I think it's gonna be Pickett because, quite honestly, Pickett doesn't have as good of a track record as Flacco does. Am I right or am I wrong? I think I'm right.
No, you're completely right. I think there are teams who would want Kenny Pickett, teams like the Saints, but we got to move on. Next thing is Shield's spicy situation. So, the spicy situation, there's a lot of spicy situations going around the NFL right now, but I'm going to go with Shedeur Sanders because I think that's the spiciest situation you can get. That's pretty darn spicy. And the biggest thing is the new rumors of the Browns and Sanders family threatening to press charges or file a lawsuit against the Giants if the Giants release Shedeur Sanders' pre-draft interview with the Giants because it was so horrible, right? So GMs, for those of you who don't know, GMs and coaches put in give you like plays and different things, and then they put in mistakes, right? And the quarterback, it's up to the quarterback to find the mistakes. You got a guy like Jackson Dart when he got interviewed with the Giants. He found most of or all of those mistakes. You go into Shedeur Sanders, you know how many he found? 0. He didn't find any of the mistakes, and when he found out about that, he was not happy. It seemed like it got pretty heated in the New York Giants organization room with Shedeur Sanders. It just did not sound like a good time. Well, that kind of showed when the night of the draft, first round, the Giants traded up and didn't pick Shedeur. They picked Jackson Dart. Jackson Dart, obviously, the Giants have come out and said he has Josh Allen-like qualities, which is a huge compliment for my guy, Jackson Dart.
Yeah.
So I think Shedeur, you better figure it out, man, because your dad's not here to protect you anymore, right?
Yeah.
Your family now is the Browns, and you need to accept that you're not the best player on that roster, right? You're not going to get paid the most on that roster because you lost $50 million on that draft slide.
Oh, yeah.
And you're going to have to tone it down, right? You could still be you, but here's what I got to say to you. You're not the best. I don't think you're ever going to be the best. You can try. You can prove me wrong, prove yourself right as you say it. And, I would love to see you succeed. But you need to tone it down, lock in, and throw the ball.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if Shedeur Sanders and Dylan Gabriel say they put up the exact same numbers in camp, Dylan Gabriel's getting that job. Not because of where he was picked, because of his personality. And that's going to be the biggest thing, personality. So if Shedeur Sanders can listen to his coaches, study film, get better, because he's not the best, good luck, man. Good luck. Let's move on.
Just so you know, the Harry Doyle bobblehead on our desk firmly agrees with Miles right over here.
All right.
He agrees.
Let's talk Matthew Golden.
And overall, the Packers draft in general.
Packers draft. What would you give it draft grade? Better grade.
I would give it a B. I'm gonna give it a B. I'm gonna be conservative. I'm not gonna say it's an A plus,
Right.
Because it's definitely not.
Yeah.
Ooh, I definitely like the Matthew Golden pick. It's fun. It's splashy.
Yeah.
And I definitely think it addressed one of the biggest needs for the Packers. But overall, the Packers failed to address a really big part of their team, which was the defense. And I feel like they could have done a little bit better. And I don't know. I do like that they took Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. They're kind of like direct opposites, because like Matthew Golden's small, he's quick. Savion Williams is bigger, and he's just bigger. That's the main thing with Savion Williams. So I like the 2 wide receivers that we got in the draft. And then I'm looking at some of the picks here. We got 2 O-linemen here. Anthony Belton out of NC State. He's really large. Boy, oh boy. There's not much to say about Anthony Belton, but he's large, and he was our 2nd round pick. So that's always a plus. I know Brian Gutekunst loves to have a lot of O-linemen. It's clear that he really does like that, with Jordan Morgan still on the roster, and now adding Anthony Belton, as well as John Williams from Cincinnati. I don't have a lot of notes on him. He was a 7th round pick. I'm not going to say too much because I really don't know a lot about him. But from what I've seen, he looks good. He had a couple solid years in Cincinnati. So, I'm not going to say anything bad about him. We did get a cornerback, Micah Robinson, out of Tulane. Fun fact, this was the pick that Packers superfan Tom Grossi actually announced. I was watching it when Tom announced it, so that's a cool moment. Not a lot to do with Micah Robinson again. Solid throughout his career. He had one really good year, and I believe that was his junior year at Tulane, before having his season cut short in his senior year. We also have 2 or 3 defensive linemen. We have Barron Sorrell, a 4th rounder out of Texas, and he was actually there at the draft, and they had to have the commissioner go out there and announce the pick, so it was a cool moment.
Yeah, that was a very cool moment. I don't know if you saw the video. They did like a little mini movie on it.
Oh, they did?
And like him coming out, and like the Packers didn't even know he was there.
Oh.
So it was a really cool moment, but continue.
And then we also had Colin Oliver. He was the 5th round pick out of Oklahoma State. I looked at it again. All these picks are really similar from like the 4th on back. Had like 2 really solid years, but then had 2 really kind of underwhelming years, I guess. One was kind of injury riddled. Same thing with Colin Oliver. I think Barron Sorrell also had an injury to his foot. Moving on. And then finally we had Warren Brinson, the 6th round pick out of Alabama. And I do like this pick because Alabama is a good football school. And I think that he could be potentially a replacement for TJ Slayton if maybe Warren Brinson pans out and does really, really well in training camp. I don't have high expectations for a lot of these guys. The 2, though, the 3, Anthony Belton and Matthew Golden and Savion Williams. I'm looking for all 3 of those guys to have pretty immediate impacts with the Packers, especially the wide receivers.
Yeah, and oh man, we gotta hurry up. Matthew Golden, I loved how you described it. Flashy. Yeah. This guy needs to be the flashiest rookie of the year that we can get. I want to see 1,000-yard reception out of him. I want to see at least 7 touchdowns out of him.
Oof.
I want it all.
Yeah.
I want it all. It's been over 20 years since we drafted a wide receiver. We're going to make it count.
Yeah.
And I think Matthew Golden is the guy to do that. Savion Williams. He is a Cordero Patterson.
Tall.
Very tall.
6'3".
Very tall. He is a Cordero Patterson. He can play, he can do all of it. He can take handoffs. He can, run routes, catch the ball. He's kind of all over. To me, he's more of a wild card. I'm not 100% sure on him. Anthony Belton, the 2nd round pick. Again, offensive linemen are just boring picks, but he could be good. I'm hoping he, like Andrew said, is an immediate impact. Barron Sorrell, I think,
large.
Could be.
Anthony Belton's large.
Sorrell could be an immediate impact. I think we all around had a I would give this grade a B plus.
Okay, so like one step above mine.
Yeah, B plus. I would give it a B plus.
Okay.
And I think maybe it could go up to an A minus. Just I think they're the guys. I feel like everyone we took besides Golden is a wild card.
Yeah.
Right? They're all either gonna be good or not, or like no one knows. Moving on though.
I do have two little facts about this. Following the draft, Devontae Wyatt's fifth-year option was picked up, so he's going to remain on that D-line. And then Quay Walker's fifth-year option was declined, but the Packers do want to sign a long-term extension to him. We'll see how well that pans out. I really hope they do because I like Quay Walker as a player. Definitely not as a person. I'm going to emphasize that. Definitely not as a person, but we'll see how that goes. And with the selection of Micah Robinson as a seventh-round pick out of Tulane as a cornerback, we could see Jair Alexander possibly staying in Green Bay. And I've heard that they are maybe considering working out a contract, but no one's come to the table. He hasn't participated in the optional workouts, so we'll have to wait and see on that part with Jair Alexander.
Yes, got to move quickly now. For the final segment, it is Andrew's 1 minute race. Andrew, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. As I would say, start your engines.
Oh, I can't. I tried to start my.
Trying to start the engine didn't work. Engine failure.
Fix the starter. Let's go. We're good. All right.
Start your engines. Ready?
Yep.
Go.
All right. This week in the NASCAR Cup Series, it's not a points race this weekend. It's the All-Star race. It's all about fun and win that cash, baby. $1 million on the line. One of the biggest purses of the year. Everyone's going to be going all out for it. We're at North Wilkesboro Speedway, a historic track in Winston-Salem, North Carolina. I'm excited to watch it. I watched qualifying last night, I believe. It was very entertaining. No one crashed out. Thankful for that. Anyway, I'm very excited to watch this NASCAR Cup Series race at North Wilkesboro Speedway. It may be an exhibition race, but it's fun. And watch out for Kyle Busch and Ricky Stenhouse Jr. again. We may see hands fly again. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And also watch out for Joey Logano. He won this race last year. I'm looking on time.
11 seconds to spare.
Oh, wow.
Boom.
Wow. That's my best one.
Nice. That was good. All right. Final announcement before we wrap up. Right now, Dr. V Studios, which is in a partnership with Red Slide Studios, but Dr. V Studios is coming out with its own spin-off of Talking Sports. It is called Talking NASCAR. Guess who the host is? Your man, Andrew Volkman. I believe I announced this last episode.
I think you did.
But I need to keep going with our little commercials here because I'm telling you right now, Talking NASCAR is going to be great. And for all those who love NASCAR, and for all those who don't even know what NASCAR is, it's going to be great. You'll learn a lot. You'll have a lot of fun listening to Andrew talk. All right. Any last words before we wrap up?
Yes, I'm possibly considering having the show start up in the first week of June. Stay tuned for updates because I will have some more on that. That will be after that'll be after Nashville, I believe. I believe it will be after Nashville. So stay tuned for more updates. Thank you to our sponsors, or my sponsors, Elite Dr. V Studios when I'm there. Thank you to Red Slide Studios for supplying us with this great studio and the mic.
Yep.
But anyways, I think that's all we got for today.
Yeah. And thank you to Red Slide Enterprise. They're gonna be big someday.
Oh yeah, they're gonna be big.
All right. See you guys.
Bye.